All right, well, good morning, third graders. It's so great to be here. You guys feeling awake today? Yeah. Feeling good? Awesome, awesome. Somebody said no, but hopefully I'll wake you up. All right. So I'm here today because I wrote 2 books, and I also wrote a whole bunch of songs, but today I'll only be able to play a few of those songs for you. But I'm going to read my books to you, and it's so great to have this nice screen up here so you can see the pictures nice and big. And then after I read each story, I'll talk to you a little bit about how I came up with the idea and how I wrote the book. And also I'll talk to you a little bit about how awesome it is to be an author, because it really is an awesome job. And then I'll play a couple songs for you too. And then if we have time, we can even have some questions at the end too. All right, so you guys ready? Yeah. Are you guys ready? Yeah. Good, I like liveliness. Good, good. All right, so this is my newest book, which is called Bye Bye Balloon. And I published this last year, so it's still pretty new. All right, so here we go. One summer Sunday, a cluster of balloons bobbed. Actually, maybe I'll sit over here. One summer Sunday, a cluster of balloons bobbed, waiting to be sold at a carnival. Suddenly, without a sound, a blue balloon slipped free and flew into the sky. Forward it floated towards the Statue of Liberty in New York Harbor and coasted over the Atlantic Ocean. We see a really cool whale there. It breezed by Big Ben in London, England, and sailed past the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France. The balloon soared above Spain as running bulls and excitement filled the streets below. And now they do this every year in Spain. Does anybody know what this is called? What do you think?
I don't know what it's called, but I know what he's doing.
What do they do?
People try to grab the bull's horn, and I think they get tried to grab the bull on the bull's horn.
Well, it's pretty crazy, right? They have all these bulls run down the street towards the Coliseum. And so all these people are on the street too, chasing after the bulls, and it seems like a crazy scene. But when I wrote this book, I definitely wanted to put that in there. Well, let me ask you guys. Now, you can see there are a lot of people on the street there, and there are people up above in the buildings. Now, let me just ask you, does anybody think they would be brave enough to be on the street with those bulls? Let's see. We got a few people. Wow, a lot of people. Wow, it's growing. So many people. Wow, awesome. Well, thanks for sharing. Me personally, I think I'd rather be up like where those people are up there. Nice and safe, but able to see all the awesomeness and craziness below. Kind of like the balloon. It towered over the Leaning Tower of Pisa in Italy, and befriended a flock of geese above the Parthenon in Greece. So that's cool. The balloon made some friends along the way. In Egypt, the balloon passed above the pyramids and Great Sphinx. What an awesome sight that is. And toured above Mount Nemrut in Turkey. And when I wrote this book, when I was writing this book, I knew a lot of these places that I wanted to put into the book, but this particular place I had never even heard of. But I really needed one more place in the Middle East. And so I was on the internet doing some research, and I found a picture of this, and I thought, that has to be in my book. Because there's these heads of statues from a long, long time ago, like over 2,000 something years ago. And what I found out is there used to be bodies, like full bodies and heads to the statues, but over time the bodies fell apart. But they do still have the heads of the statues, and so they're all set up there on this Mount Nemrut in Turkey. It traveled over the Taj Mahal in India. Then it glided over the Great Wall of China for miles and miles and miles. It's a very long wall. The balloon battled wind over the Great Buddha in Japan. We could see it getting all blown around that day. but calmly cruised above kangaroos and koala bears in Australia. It eased by Easter Island near Chile. So there's some more statues from a long time ago. And hovered above a Hollywood movie set. So we had the balloon when it first started, it was in New York City. Now it went all the way around the world. And now it's on the other side of the United States in California. And there's a movie being filmed. Over Toronto, Canada, the balloon grew very tired. Losing air, it headed down. Look, a boy shouted. He sprinted to catch the balloon before it hit the ground. Do you think he caught it? Let's see. He did. As he held it in his hands, he looked up at the sky. I wonder how it got here, his sister exclaimed. They don't know, but we know. Meanwhile, many miles away, a cluster of balloons bobbed, waiting to be sold at a carnival. Suddenly, without a sound, a green balloon slipped free and flew into the sky. The end. Or the beginning. All right, all right. So do you guys think now the green balloon is going to go on a trip around the world? Yeah, and who knows, maybe the green balloon will go to some of the same sites and countries where the blue balloon went to, but who knows, maybe it'll go to other places, because there's so many amazing places in our world. Who knows, maybe it'll be right above Hill and Plain School. I don't know. It's up to your own imagination where it would go. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote this book, was that I wanted to show children a lot of these amazing places that are all over the world. And but actually, the way that I first came up with the idea, though, was actually pretty cool, because you never really know when you're going to come up with an idea for a story or a song. You never really know. But the way that I came up with this was, I was at a parade one day, and I saw a whole bunch of little boys and girls, and they were holding balloons, and a few of them accidentally let the balloons go. And I think we all know what happens if you're outside, and even just for a split second, if you let that balloon string go, that balloon is gone. It's just going to go higher and higher and higher in the sky. And these little boys and girls were crying. They were so upset. And I was looking at them, and I felt bad for them. But I was looking up at the balloons flying higher and higher, and I just kind of thought, I wonder where those balloons are going. And then I started to think, well, the balloon's not going to have air for a whole lot of time. So I'm hoping that balloon is going to get to go on a trip all around the world. So it's actually almost like a good thing that these boys and girls let go of their balloon, because now the balloon is free and now it can go travel the world. So I turned something that was sad and negative into a positive. And I started brainstorming about where would I like the balloon to go. And I started thinking, and some of the first places I thought of, actually, here's a quick picture. There's me when I had some longer hair. I like to change my hair every now and then, I guess. And then the guy on the right is Sean Boyce. He's the illustrator, and he's the guy who did those amazing pictures. He's a painter. He lives in Boston. Oh, that's weird. Just repeat it. Okay, forget it. We'll just leave it on that screen. Okay. But the first place that I thought was I really wanted the balloon to go to the Statue of Liberty. I thought that'd be a great starting point. And then I started thinking about, like, Big Ben in London and the Eiffel Tower. And like I said before, I really wanted to have the running of the bulls in the book, too. And then I started just brainstorming other places. And then I went home and I looked on the computer and I looked at a map. And then that's how I started plotting out my route of where I would want the balloon to go. And then I even saw I needed one more place in the Middle East. And that's when I looked up on the internet and I found Mount Nemrut. So even I learned something while I was writing this book, too. And just like when you guys write a story in school, I didn't just write it one time and I was done. You guys know it doesn't work like that, right? Because if you write it one time, it's okay. But then when you reread it, I'm sure there's spelling mistakes. I'm sure you could add more details. I'm sure some things might be a little confusing, or maybe you could say things a little bit better. And that's okay, because that's just your starting point. So it is really nice to share it with your teacher or your friends or your family, just to kind of get an idea of what people think of what you wrote. And if people tell you to change some things or whatever, that's okay, because they want you to write the best thing that you can write. And don't you want to write the best thing that you can write? Yeah. Right, because you came up with a great idea. Tell it the best way you can. So with this, the first time I wrote it, I wrote a version much different than this. Like, this is pretty simple. There's just one sentence on each page. But when I first wrote it, it was very involved. I wrote like 8 lines for each page, and I made it a rhyming story. And I liked it. But then after a while, when I let it sit for a while and I reread it over time, I kind of felt like I said too much. And when you're writing a rhyming story, you really have to get the rhythm, the same tooth of the whole story. And sometimes it was kind of off a little bit, and I just felt like it wasn't right. So over time, I ended up writing another version of the story, not a rhyming version. But I started with a boy character who had the balloon at a fair, and then he let go of it, and all these things happened. And then I wrote another version with a girl character. And then over time, I took a writing class, and I shared this story with people, and they really liked it. But they gave me some different pointers and things. And then eventually I thought, you know what, I should just write this story so super simple, because I wanted it to be a picture book. Now, in a picture book, the pictures are also telling the story. So I felt like I didn't want to tell too much. Now, if you're writing like a chapter book, then you probably want to have more details and more events and actions and things like that. But for this story, I felt like less was going to be more. It's going to be the best. So it took me a while to write it, but I finally published it last year, and I absolutely love the illustrations. I'm so happy with the way that it came out. Now what I would like to share with you is the first book that I wrote, which is called Spaghetti Eddie. Now, does anybody like to eat spaghetti here? Good, good. Now, I didn't bring any spaghetti to eat, but I know you guys are so sad. But it is still the morning, so it's okay. You don't want to have spaghetti for breakfast. But this is a really, really cool story about a boy who loves spaghetti more than we do, probably combined. He loves it so much. Okay, so this is my first book. This is Eddie. He eats spaghetti every day, except Sundays. On Sundays, he eats ravioli. So he takes a little break from spaghetti. One afternoon, Eddie's mother sent him to the grocery store to buy frosting for a birthday cake. It was Eddie's father's birthday. The family was throwing a surprise party for him. And we could see his sister in the back getting the balloons ready. The mom's making the cake. She has all the batter there in the bowl. But they don't have frosting. And isn't the frosting like the best part of the cake? Yeah. So Eddie's got to go get it. So let's see what happens. Outside, Eddie saw his neighbor, Miss Greer, sitting on the curb. She was frowning at her shoes. Now, can everybody show me what a frown looks like? Oh, man, this place just got so sad looking. Let's see some smiles. Let's see them. Oh, that's way better. I like seeing teeth and lips up like this. I like seeing happiness. But Miss Greer, she's so sad. She's frowning. What's the matter? Eddie asked. My shoelace broke, Miss Greer said sadly. Now my shoe won't stay on, so I can't finish my daily run. And we could see a dog in the back just walking down the sidewalk, and he smells that delicious spaghetti. We're going to see a lot of that dog. Eddie wanted to help. He grabbed a spaghetti noodle from his bowl. Here, he said to Miss Greer, use my spaghetti for a shoelace. That sounds awfully silly, said Miss Greer, but she took the spaghetti noodle anyway. At the fishing pier, Eddie saw his friend, Mr. Jonathan. Eddie, my boy, cried Mr. Jonathan. I promised Mrs. Jonathan I'd catch some fish for dinner, but my fishing rod broke. Oh, no. Eddie wanted to help. I'll use my spaghetti noodles to make a fishing net, Eddie told Mr. Jonathan. And there he is, laying out all the noodles, and the dog has his tongue sticking out. I think he just wants to eat that spaghetti. This seems awfully silly, said Mr. Jonathan, but he took the spaghetti fishing net anyway. A little later, Eddie heard someone call his name. It was Adam, an older boy who lived across the street from him. Eddie, I need help, cried Adam. I was jamming with the band and I broke my guitar strings. I can't play my guitar without strings. And he didn't just break one string, he broke all 6 of them. He must have been playing really hard. Eddie wanted to help. He counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 extra long noodles, and he pulled them from his bowl. Here, he told Adam, string your guitar with my spaghetti. This seems awfully silly, said Adam, but he took the spaghetti strings anyway. Near the grocery store, Eddie heard people shouting. A robber ran out of the store, clutching a big bag of money. Oh no! Eddie wanted to help. He reached into his bowl. All of his noodles were gone. Do you think Eddie just gave up and went home? No way, no way. He's too smart and too nice for that. Eddie grabbed the meatball from his bowl and he threw it as hard as he could. Splat! Eddie's meatball hit the robber right between the eyes. I can't see! The man screamed. He ran smack into a tree. And the dog finally got a little treat. A few minutes later, a policeman came. Eddie's neighbors told the policeman what had happened. Nice throw, kid, said the policeman. Then he hauled the robber away. Eddie bought a can of chocolate frosting in the grocery store. It was almost 5 o'clock. He knew his mother would be upset if he was late for the party, so he ran home as fast as he could. Nobody was more surprised by the surprise party than Eddie. Miss Greer was there telling Eddie's sister about the amazing spaghetti shoelace. Mr. and Mrs. Jonathan were there telling Eddie's mother about the incredible spaghetti fishing net. And they had a pot full of freshly boiled fish. So the fishing net worked. They caught a whole lot of fish. Adam was there with his band playing Happy Birthday, Italian style. He's got sauce all over his strings. Half the neighborhood was there telling Eddie's father how Eddie had stopped the robber with a single meatball. That's all it took. Everybody sang Happy Birthday. Everybody ate freshly boiled fish. Everybody had birthday cake with chocolate frosting. And everybody ate Eddie's father's favorite food. And what do you think it could be? Spaghetti. The whole family loves spaghetti, even their new dog. So there you go. All right, all right. So did you guys think Eddie was a pretty nice guy? Yeah, he saw a lot of people who, they were sad, they needed help. And he didn't help them in maybe ways you would think, but he used his imagination, and he was also very resourceful, which means he just used what he had. He had spaghetti, and he had a really imaginative brain, and that's how he helped people out. Now, I wanted to tell you guys a little bit about how, actually, we'll get to that later. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, I have a picture right here, and some other stuff I'm going to show you, because I actually wrote the story of Spaghetti Eddie when I was in school. I wrote it for a homework assignment when I was in college. And I took this class called Children's Literature. And in the class, we read all these different stories. And I got really excited because for the final project, my teacher said we all had to write our own story. And I went to school at WestCon in Danbury, which isn't too far from here. And I was, like I said, I was really, really excited because I really wanted to write my own story. And before then, I really hadn't written stories very much, maybe in school a long time ago, but not in a long time. And I was really excited, but the only problem was I didn't know what to write about. Because I really wanted to write something that was like totally awesome. But I would try different ideas, and you know when you see a cartoon and the cartoon has like a really brilliant idea and a light bulb goes off above their head? Well, that's what I wanted to have, like that brilliant idea. But I was trying different ideas, but nothing really seemed like that great. I didn't have that spark. So I kind of needed to come up with something soon because the assignment was due very soon. So I kind of broke the idea down and I thought, I should put a good message in my story. And that's when I thought about sharing, because I think sharing is a wonderful thing. So I thought, okay, I'll write a story about sharing. But then I thought, well, how can I show sharing in a brand new way that's never been shown before? So to get inspired, I thought back to the books that I really loved when I was a little boy. And one of the books that my mother and father used to read to my brother and I a lot was this book, which is called Watch Out for the Chicken Feet in Your Soup. And it's written by Tommy DePaula, who I'm sure you've heard of. He's a very, very famous author. If you've read Strega Nona or Big Anthony, or he's written like over 100 books. But this story we've had for a long time. And it's about this boy, Joey, who brings his friend Eugene over to his Italian grandmother's house for the day. And they eat a whole lot of food, including spaghetti. And I could even show you that picture. Here's where the grandma brings out a huge bowl of spaghetti. And the boy Joey, he can't eat it. He's so full. But Eugene, he loves spaghetti, and he's got plenty of room in his belly, so he's going to eat it all up. But when I thought about this part, and I had that idea of sharing in my head too, that's when I had that light bulb go off above my head. And I thought, yeah, I'll put spaghetti and sharing together, and I'm not just going to write about maybe a boy who shares his spaghetti with somebody who's hungry. That's nice. That's really, really nice. But the only thing is, it's not funny. And I like to be silly. So I started to brainstorm silly ways that you could use spaghetti. And the first thing I thought of was shoelaces when I looked at my sneakers. And then I play the guitar. So I thought, what if you put spaghetti as guitar strings? That's totally silly. I never heard of that before. So those were my first two ideas. And then from there, I just wrote all my ideas down on a piece of paper. And then I started to write my story. And like I said before, I didn't just write it one time and I was done. No, it never works like that. I just kind of wrote a story on line paper. And then from there, I crossed things out or I moved things around. And then finally, I got it the way I really, really liked it. And then I made it into a book. And this was the cover of the book. And as you could see, it wasn't just called Spaghetti Eddie. I called it A Boy Named Eddie Who Shared His Spaghetti. And I actually have the original story right here. It's a little beat up. But I love showing this because I also did my own pictures too. Now you guys saw how awesome the pictures are in the book. Now you're going to see the picture that I did. That's how I drew it. I did the best that I could. It's always good whenever you write a story. It's great to have pictures to go with it. And this is just like the same kind of book that you guys, I'm sure, have made on your own, or you will make on your own. All I did was I just took white paper, I typed out the words, and then I folded it in half to make a book, and then I drew all the pictures. And I'm sure now with computers and all the colors, I'm sure you can make a book that's way better looking than this. But I did the best that I could. And I really like to show it because it's cool to see how this is how it started, just like the stories that you guys make. And then eventually it can become a book that they sell in stores and you can read about on the internet, and that allows me to go out to all these different schools and libraries and places all over the place. Because when I wrote this story, I really just wanted to have fun with the assignment and to get a good grade. And that's all I thought of. But it wasn't until after the class where my mom and my dad read the story and they were like, this is really good. You should try to get it published. And I really had no idea how you do that. So I went on the internet and I started to research, well, how do you get a book published? And I also went to the library, and there's this big book called Literary Marketplace, and they have all these addresses of publishing companies, which many of them are in New York City, and a lot of them will let you send your story to them. So I sent my story to all these different places, just the words. They didn't need to see the pictures. And I thought I'd keep that to myself. So I sent this story out to all these places, and I thought, somebody's going to like this story. It is really good. And then I waited, and I waited, and I waited, and months went by. It took so long. And finally, I started getting these skinny little envelopes in the mail. And they all basically said the same thing. And well, actually, what they're called are rejection letters. Not the kind of mail you want to get. They all basically said, thank you for sending us your story, but it's not right for us. And that's a bummer when somebody turns you down like that. But I thought, you know what? If they don't like it, that's okay. I'm sure somebody's going to like this story. So I kept mailing it out and trying and trying and trying, and it wasn't working. But eventually what I did was I took a one-night class in Woodbury, Connecticut, which was near to where I grew up, and the class was called How to Get Published. So I went to the class, and the teacher ended up being the head of this company called Boyd's Mills Press, which is part of Highlights magazine, which I'm sure you guys have seen Highlights magazine maybe in the library, or they always have it at the doctor's office too. And on the way out of my class, I gave him the words that I had written, and then to my surprise, he called me on the phone about a week or so later and said that he loved the story, and that the people at his company loved it too, and that they wanted to publish it. And that was like the best phone call I ever got. I was so happy. So from there, I thought, okay, I'm going to have a book maybe within the year or so, and then I could start showing it to people and everything. But then I found out how long it takes for a book to get published, because from that point, it actually took 3 whole years for the book to finally come out, for it to go like from this to this. It took about 3 years. Because the illustrator had to do her job, and I worked with an editor, and we changed the story around a little bit, and all these things had to be done. But then when the book finally came out, I started going out to schools, and I wrote some songs to go along with it, and I realized that this is the best job in the world. I had no idea that this was even a job where you can go out to schools and libraries and places and read your books and play songs and have people clap and smile and enjoy it. What a cool job. It's awesome. I had no idea you could do this, but I love it. And really quickly about the illustrations, it was a little weird because I actually never even met the illustrator. Totally weird. I didn't even know what the book was going to look like, but the publishing company picked the illustrator. And it wasn't until I got some black and white versions of the book, Spaghetti Eddie, that I finally saw what it was going to look like. But when I saw it, I was so excited. I was so happy. And something that really surprised me was the dog. Because in the words, I never said one thing about a dog. But the illustrator added the dog, and I thought that was really cool because obviously the words are telling a story, but now with the dog and him and Eddie becoming friends and going together throughout the whole story, it's almost like the pictures tell a second story. So I thought that was really cool that she added that. All right. And actually, I could show you one more picture. Here's where Eddie's mom gives him the money to buy the frosting. And, oh, actually, I have one more, too. I can show you this, too. There you go. So there's 2 little parts here. This was my original ending of the story. Like, in the book, when Eddie comes home, there's a big party going on. But when I first wrote it, I had Eddie come home very late because, obviously, he was just supposed to get frosting and come right home. But he helped all those people, so he took a lot longer. So his mom was very worried. So when he finally came home, she yelled at him because she was so worried. But then she found out how nice he was and how he helped all those people. So she gave him a big hug and made him more spaghetti. So that was my original ending, but it changed over time. All right. And this is the cover of my newest CD right here. And what I'd like to do is play a few songs for you right now. All right. So I'm going to play my guitar, and then I also have my iPod here, which is actually my band. You're going to hear a lot of different sounds coming out of the speaker over there. All right, because I record my songs in a studio or at my house, and then it's nice to have all the instruments along with when I play my guitar. All right, so the first song I'm going to do is the Bye Bye Balloon song. I figured if I'm going to have a book, I got to have a song to go with it. I'm a balloon and I am blue. Being like the others I cannot do. There's places to go and people to see. The only way to do it, I've gotta be free. So I pull and wiggle from strength I muster and break away from the balloon cluster. Up to the sky, I rise and away I go, flying so high. And you'll say, bye bye, bye bye balloon, I'll see you soon, bye bye bye, bye bye balloon. If you guys want to clap along, it'll sound even better. Oh, there we go. Woo! Lady Liberty, Atlantic Ocean, London, Paris, I keep on coasting to Spain, Italy, and off to Greece. The pyramids of Egypt right below me. Mount Nemrut, the Taj Mahal. All across China I follow the wall to Japan, Australia, and Easter Island. Over Hollywood I keep on gliding. And you'll say, bye bye, bye bye balloon, I'll see you soon, bye bye bye, bye bye balloon, bye balloon. Woo! All right. So since I played the Bye Bye Balloon song, don't you think I should now play the Spaghetti Eddie song? All right. Now, if you guys want to help me sing it a little bit, that would be awesome too. I know it's a little weird, but whatever. It's music. Just enjoy it. Just let it out and have fun. So there's a part in the song, like it's very wordy because I'm telling the story now through a song. But in the song, I'm going, Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie. And when I say that, if you want to add your voice to it, it'll sound awesome. Okay? Do it. Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie. People get ready and grab your confetti, 'cause Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie helps people out with his spaghetti. Eddie is a boy and you know he enjoys helping you out any way he can. If you're feeling down and out, all you could stand, well, here comes Eddie to lend a helping hand. If you've got a sad face and a broken shoelace, Eddie's got the noodles to take its place, and you'll be so happy he made your day. You'll dance and sing, and you'll say, Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie. People get ready and grab your confetti, 'cause Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie helps people out with his spaghetti. Right. Catching some fish is what you wish, but you've got a broken rod and an empty dish. No food for your family, and what you gonna do? Your kids are gonna cry, say boo hoo hoo. But along comes Eddie to lend a helping hand. He hands some noodles to the sad man, and he's got an idea, ready and set. Make my spaghetti into a fishing net. Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie. People get ready and grab your confetti, 'cause Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie helps people out with his spaghetti. got a guitar with broken strings, it's alright, don't you worry about a thing, 'cause Eddie's got the noodles. In fact, he's got 6, and the way he works, it's a quick fix. Oh no, there's a robber getting away. He just robbed a store. Who will save the day? Eddie takes a meatball from his bowl and throws it at the robber to lay the blow. And splat, splat in his face. It takes a meatball to break up the chase for Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie. People get ready and grab your confetti, 'cause Eddie, spaghetti, spaghetti, Eddie helps people out with his spaghetti. 3 cheers for Eddie! 3 cheers for Eddie! 3 cheers for Eddie! 'Cause we love Eddie! Woo! All right. All right. You guys having a good time? Yeah. Doesn't this seem like an awesome job? Yeah. Totally is. All right, let's see. Where is that next song? Okay. Oh, actually, before I play this, I think I'm going to do one more song for you. But I wanted to show this to you. Like I said, this is the cover of my newest CD, Smile Every Day. And it also comes with an activity book, which I thought would be a really cool thing to have, because what I did was I put the words to some of the songs in here, and then it allows you to then illustrate them. So it's like I'm the author, and you can be the illustrator. Like, here's a song all about, let's see, this one's all about fruit. And then over here, you get to circle your favorite fruits, and then you can draw a picture of you eating your favorite fruit. That's one of them. And then, which goes along with this next song that I'm going to do, it's a song called So Many Books. So it's a rap. I think you're really going to dig it. Here's all the words to it. And then over here, you can write your 3 favorite books, and then you could draw a scene from one of your favorite books. Maybe one of them is Spaghetti Eddie. Maybe one is Bye Bye Balloon. I don't know, but that's up to you. All right. So this is my song, So Many Books. Here. Books, books, there's so many books to read. Yeah, books, books, so many books. Open them up and take a look. B-O-O-K-S, reading books is the best. There's so much to learn, so much to know, and so many travels where you can go with people, places, and so many things. Moats and castles, kings and queens, monkeys, cats, camels and giraffes. Stories so funny, you have to laugh. Go hop, ha, aha, hee, hee. Or is the story a mystery with action, intrigue, and a twist? Read it with your brother or your sis. Books, books, so many books to read. Books, books, so many books. Open them up and take a look. I read to my dad, I read to my mama, I read to my goldfish and my iguana. I read to my grandma and my gramps, African tales and baseball champs. I read fiction, non-fiction too, Tommy, Zapala, and Dr. Seuss. Sometimes humor, but sometimes scary. There's so many books at your library to read, cause reading's so great. There's so much to read, I just can't wait. I'll grab any book off the bookshelf. I'll read it with my friends or even by myself. Books, books, so many books to read. Yeah, books, books, so many books. Open them up and take a look. Put your hands over there like this. There we go. B-O-O-K-S, reading books is the best. B-O-O-K-S, reading books is the best. Yeah, B-O-O-K-S, reading books is the best. Yeah, B-O-O-K-S, Reading books is the best! Woo! All right, all right. Well, unfortunately, it looks like we're out of time, everybody. But you guys had fun? Did you enjoy the stories and the songs? Awesome. That makes me so happy. So happy. And just like I said, you never know when you're going to come up with a great idea for a story or a song. Well, what I would recommend is if you come up with something you think it's a great idea, write it down. Because the worst thing is if you forget it. Like, maybe it happened to you, but I know it's happened to me, like in the middle of the night, if I woke up and I had a brilliant idea and I thought, oh, I'll remember that. It doesn't happen. You don't remember it in the morning. So make sure, whenever, write it down, all right? And boys and girls, I had an awesome time hanging out with all of you. Have a great time the rest of your year in third grade. And good luck next year. Everybody, what I would like you to do is, if you had a great time, give me a quiet clap. Nice, nice. And I want you to be as quiet as you possibly can and just sit, and you're going to wait until your teachers get up and they're going to kind of direct you on how to leave. All right? Awesome, everybody. I had a great time.